Hey everyone, Mojo here. Today I'm going to be doing a walk around on my two Honda Trail 125s. One is a 2021, the other is a 2022. Both years are basically the same. Honda didn't really change anything in the US on the bikes. Same color, same motor, same everything. So both my bikes are basically set up identical. The only difference is the bike that I ride the most, I'm running aftermarket taller rear shocks and larger front and rear tires. On my 2022, my rear tire and front tire, they are bigger than the stock, but they are not as big as my 2021. The 2022, I am running a 3.0 in the rear and a 2.5 in the front. And on my 2021, the bike that I mainly ride on trails, I am running a 3.5 in the rear and a 3.0 in the front. On the 3.0 in the front, you need to run a fender riser in order for the tire to clear. Otherwise, the tire will kind of rub on the fender. So this bike, I have a Mojo Customs fender riser on it. And on this bike, the 2022, because the tire is not as big, I don't need the fender riser. And those are basically, besides the sprockets, the two differences between the bikes, how I have them set up. Other than that, everything is pretty much the same. Starting off, I have my fishing pole holder. I don't remember what name it is. It's All Right fishing pole holder. I bought it off of Amazon. I think it was about $29. They also have a single pole holder, and I like it. I can just throw my poles in the back. I can unbolt that section, so all you see is just that bracket. If I don't want the pole holder on for the day or while I'm riding up in the trails. Going to the rear on both bikes, I am running a rear taillight guard. If you go on Amazon and eBay or online, there are a bunch of different brands out there. I don't remember exactly what brand this one is, but I liked it compared to the other ones. It seemed like it was stronger and protected more of the light than some of the other ones. Then I also have the crash guard for the exhaust. This is something that I would recommend just because that muffler sticks out. And if you just happen to lay the bike down, or even if you bump it and you accidentally tip it over, it will land on that guard and it will help save the exhaust heat shield. This heat shield, there are some scratches on it. This bike has not been dropped. The scratches are mainly from when you swing your foot over the boot, kind of sometimes if you're not paying attention, will hit right here, and that's what those scuffs are. Then going down, I have a aftermarket seat. So on the Trail 125, one of the drawbacks that I don't like about it is the back rack. They went and put the grab handle right here. So the stock seat ends right here, and you hit your tailbone right on that. This seat allows me to sit back a little bit further, and it puts a protector over that grab handle so I don't hit it. You can still feel where that is because there's not as much padding right where that handle goes, but it's a lot better than what stock was, especially for people that are taller and have a tendency to sit back further. On the center, I put a G-Craft center rack. There are, again, quite a few different racks out there. I bought some other ones, didn't care much for them. The quality wasn't as good. Some of them weren't as strong. And because of that, I went with the G-Craft, and I also have it on my other bike. The crash bars, can't remember exactly what brand it was, but if you look on Amazon or eBay, you'll find a bunch of different ones, including this one. I went with this because it has the plastic slide protector and it tapers up on the bottom. So when you have rocks on either side and you're kind of trying to squeeze through a tight area, it gives you a little bit more clearance to get through without hitting something. The ones that come out, they can hit things that are wider easier, and that's why I went with this one. The lights, they are just a inexpensive LED light that I bought. I think they were $15 shipped off of Amazon at the time that I got them. The brackets were again another about $15. And then I wired them up to a switch, and that switch is hooked up to a relay and then hooked up to the ignition. So when you turn the key on is when there's power, and then when you push it in, it goes red, so I know if the lights are on, like daytime, I can see if I can't see the light. And that's how I have that hooked up. I got this crossbar. There are a bunch of them out there. This one, I liked it because it had real carbon fiber, and it was $19 at the time that I bought it shipped. And then I mainly use it for my bags. So I have that bag strapped to it that I hold things in. Then coming forward, my front rack, again, I'm sorry, I can't remember what brand it was. There are a lot of different front racks out there. I liked this one because it worked well with my mole bags. So I have a bunch of mole bags that I buy, M-O-L-L-E. There are a lot of different sizes and styles out there, and they just snap on. And so that's kind of the bag that I go to, that I put on all my bikes. This is also a mole bag, and it holds my drink container right in the front. Then I'm running the op-mid speedometer. I went with the op-mid speedometer partly because it has a lot of different options on it. It shows the gear. So this bike is my wife's bike, and she's sort of new to riding bikes with gears. So it kind of helps her and lets her know what gear it's in. It also allows you to adjust the settings. Because of that, when you change your tire size and you change your sprocket size, you can set those in the speed control so that everything runs correct. Your ABS light won't come on flashing while you're driving, and your speed miles per hour will be accurate. Then on both bikes, the forks, I am running the YSS fork inserts. They are a lot better than stock. You can adjust the preload on them. The one thing I wish they had was an option to get stiffer springs, partly because I weigh around 280 pounds. So I still bottom them out, but not as much as stock. For my wife, she's a lot lighter and it's perfect for her. I went and so you can buy different ones that they say are for the Trail125, these USB plugs. I just got a generic one online. The hole was a little bit smaller, so I took a Dremel and just opened it up a bit so it could fit in there. Put it in, wired it up, and was good to go. On the bottom of the front forks, I have tie downs that I put on, so that way I could, instead of hooking up to my handlebars when I tie it down on the trailer or the back of a pickup truck, it's just lower and in that area, which I think hooks up better. Onto the side of the motor, I have the NK Racing stainless steel intake manifold from the Airbox. My motor is basically stock. I haven't done anything to it, so I can't really tell a difference running this from the stock hose. And I mean, if I went with a big bore and a different exhaust, then it would probably work better and allow for the other components to go to their potential. But I mainly just thought it looked neat, and so I bought it, threw it on, called it good, put it on both bikes. And then I have the Mojo Customs toolbox relocator. So normally your toolbox is in the back. I bought an extra toolbox, kept my toolbox in the back, have tools in it, put another toolbox in the front with the Mojo Customs toolbox relocator, and I used the front toolbox to hold my papers. So my registration, insurance, and so on, that's held in the front. Some people will remove the rear toolbox, put a gas can back there or some other accessory, and then they'll relocate that to the front and do it that way. I like it. It's handy to have something that keeps the water out and allows me to have my paperwork kind of locked away. Anyways, so the sprockets on this bike, because my wife's not really comfortable doing a lot of crazy trail riding, she's more comfortable just on the street and back roads, dirt roads. So the sprockets on this, normally the rear sprocket on the trail is a 39 in the rear, a 14 in the front. On this bike, I'm running a 40 in the rear, so I went up one, and the front, I believe I'm running a 13. I've switched back and forth from a 12 to a 13, so I can't remember what I have in there right now, but it gives it a little bit better climbing. It's not the greatest, but it's at least better than stock, and it helps compensate a little bit for the tires that are slightly taller. On my bike that I actually take up in the mountains and do some pretty steep climbing, I'm running a 52 tooth in the rear and a 12 in the front. I wanted to go bigger in the rear, but these bikes are limited because of the rear shock. That shock If I went any bigger, it would hit the base of the shock, not allowing it to work. Because of that, I can only go a 52. It does all right. I'd still like it to be a little bit lower. Ultimately, I wish Honda came out with the high-low gear in the motor itself, which they had on the older trail bikes. Don't know if they'll ever do it, but it would be nice. That's one of the main things that people complain about, that it doesn't have that. Anyways, that is sort of a walk around of my two Trail 125s. And oh, and one other thing, my mirrors. So these mirrors, I bought them just mainly because they're cheap. They, at the time when I bought them, they were $18 shipped on Amazon. I think now they're $19 or $20 shipped. And when I'm on the trail, I just flip them down, or when I have it loaded on the trailer. And then when I need them, if I'm on the road, I just flip them back out. They're nothing special. They're made really cheap. They can break easy, but at $18 for the set, I don't mind. The nicer ones that are out there that kind of use the same mounting as the Ram mounts, they are roughly $130 for a set. So $18, I didn't mind. And if I break them, I'll just spend another $18 and throw another set on. I haven't had that problem yet, but if I did, it's just $18. Anyways, that's about it for the Trail 125s. I hope that information was useful to you. If there's any other questions you have, just put it down in the comments and I will try and answer it the best I can. Thanks again for watching, and have